holds the key to wisdom. We're diving in.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Organically Blunt. I am Jay Blaze, your host, if you don't know already. And if you do, thanks for joining us once again. And this evening, I have the pleasure and the opportunity to speak with Bingus. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, my friend. I appreciate you having me on. Cheers to everybody in the chat room. A big shout out to the chat. I'm very grateful for everybody that shows up, because without you, there wouldn't be a show. So much love to the chat room. And I thank you, my friend, for inviting me.
It is a pleasure. You know, I've seen you around in a lot of other shows that I'm friends with. And I don't always jump in the conversations. I kind of am a wallflower. So I kind of stand back and kind of just observe. And sometimes I get involved and sometimes I don't. But, you know, I seen you supporting us a lot too. And I was like, okay, great. And then another guest reached out and said, you got to interview Bingus. He has been growing since the 70s and he has a lot of knowledge and we would like to hear more about him. And I was like, okay, I'll see what I can do. So here we are.
Thank you.
So like I said before we got on the air here, I was trying to make sure I pronounced your title of your book correctly, but I think so I don't butcher it, I'll just have you say the title so it makes it easier. But I want to dive into this book that you wrote, but I also want to dive into a little bit about you and your journey with cannabis as a person.
Sure. Yeah, it's I've been working on it for quite a while. It's called The Sovereignty of Cannabis, the Green Soul. Yeah.
Okay. And how does this fit into spirituality when it comes to the book and cannabis as a whole?
Well, cannabis actually led me to spirituality. It's number one, it activates our endocannabinoid receptors, and the endocannabinoid receptors are prominent throughout the human body, and they regulate and balance the human condition. And it brings things into balance. When you're in balance, you can discover who you really are as a spirit, basically, as a being of the spirit.
Definitely.
So.
Yeah. I feel today was definitely a testament for me, you know. I had a pretty rough day, to be honest, and I think if I wouldn't have had the plant, I would have had a lot rougher day. And it I feel that I personally matured with the plant as I've been using it. As you get older, it's like a different mentality comes with the plant.
Well, yeah, first of all, you're a truck driver, so you're really on the front lines to service to others. Okay? And you're dealing with quite a lot of unique novelties on a moment-to-moment basis in that regard. And cannabis brings us into balance. It's easier to deal with this world the way that it is when you're in balance. And I mean, I took a rip just before we started, and I do it periodically, and it's brought me into that understanding of how to maintain balance and how to discover who you really are as a being here having this experience. So it's been with me since I was a kid. You know, I had kind of I had an older parents. They were pretty heavy-handed. I had a rough childhood. Had a lot of post-traumatic stress, you could say. I didn't realize it at the time, but when I smoked cannabis, the first time I did, it was the first time in my life that I had actually been in balance. All right, and where I could actually sleep and not have tremendous nightmares and things like that. So it hit me early on. I think I was about 17 when I finally discovered it, and I've been, neck deep in it ever since.
What was that experience like for your first time? I mean, did you actually? Some people say they don't get high the first time, and then other people say they do. And that's one of the questions that I was planning to ask you anyway. Was where did you get it from? I mean, without obviously putting the person under the bus. I mean, we got to hear the juicy details.
I've told this story several times, but I ran track. I was an athlete when I was young, and I ran the half mile. The quarter miler was a state champion, and he would disappear behind the dugout, which was near the track, before every race. And we belonged to the same fraternity at the time, and I was younger. I was like a sophomore, and he was a senior. And he said, "You're coming with me today." I go, "I got a race." He goes, "So do I. Come with me." So we went behind the dugout, and he pulled out a joint.
Wow.
And he sparked that baby up, and he started smoking it. And I was just like, nah, man, I got a race to run here. I'm not looking to get all high and stuff. And he goes, "Nah, you're part of the fraternity, and you're going to take a hit." I'm like, "Oh man," I was just trying to not. And he goes, "You're going to do this. You're going to get your ass kicked, basically." So I said, "Okay." And I took a little wussy, and I'm like, "All right, cool. All right, let's go." All right. And he's like, No, come here. And he goes, "Let me show you something." He took a huge draw, and just this billow of smoke came out, and his eyes turned beet red. And he goes, "That's what you're going to do." I go, "All right." And I did that. And dude, first of all, I barreled out this billow of smoke and dropped to my knees. My eyes burst into flames, basically. And this euphoria bursted into my body. And I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was, and anyway, I ran my best race ever. And
wow.
I was basically hooked after that, thanks to Eddie. I don't
Hey, that's awesome.
I'm not going to say his last name.
No.
Yeah, but ever since then, I've been growing it and smoking it. I've been in prison twice for it. It's part of who I am. Yeah.
Definitely. I got to meet John Sinclair before he passed, and
Nice.
I got to go down there to Hash Bash and all that, and then he passed, unfortunately, and didn't make it to this year's. He passed, but I definitely can relate. On the spiritual side, I finally got exposed to that side, and it was very eye opening. I mean, I've never seen so many people out there for something like that, and yeah, it was awesome. I will be there again this coming 2025. But you say you went to prison for it. Was it for possession, or was it for sale, or
all of that? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I went first time I got somebody always turns you in, usually. That's what happened.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then I was very I don't know, kind of cantankerous. I was pissed that I got busted. And so I went in front of the judge, and I could have got just straight probation, but I had to start mouthing off to the judge. And so I went right from there to prison.
Yeah.
And they didn't, mess around. And
I can see that.
So I got out, and what I do in order to pay for my penalty, I had to start growing weed again. And about 10 years later, I got popped again.
Wow.
And it's just been, I'm thankful actually for both times, because it taught me some valuable lessons. It's led me to where I am now. I was not in balance as a human being. You know, we're born into this system, this social system of separation. And, you know, you pop out and you get smacked on the ass, and there's your first traumatic vision as you come in here. And then you are indoctrinated into a system that guarantees that you follow certain belief systems and keeps everything separated. And cannabis is about unity, and it brings your energy vortexes in your body in balance, and it assists with meditation. It's been with humanity since the beginning, and it's on record as being a way to balance yourself, to attain spiritual awareness, to realize who you really are. And I've come to discover that each and every one of us has a soul. There's usually no argument about that. But to activate that soul, to activate the individuated aspect of first source that's in the soul, you have to be in balance. And
absolutely,
cannabis assists in that, and it has since the beginning of humanity. And as hard as they try, they being those that rule this planet, as hard as they try to keep us in separation, if you're involved in cannabis, you're going to enjoy unity. And I think it's one of the reasons they try to ban it from us. They try to control it from us, because they know that we're all one, and all we really have to do is act like it. And when you're high on cannabis, your CB1 and CB2 receptors are open. Sometimes those are referred to as the God receptors, and you are in balance. And in a world of social separation, that's not popular for the rulers over the masses. They don't like that. But I think we're gaining on them. You know?
yeah. Oh, I definitely, I agree. You know, we do a lot of rallies here in Michigan, you know, for our rights, and we got a whole organization here for the state called Michigan Weedsters, because they don't want us to grow it. They want to take it away from us, and they want to basically it to be a shelf product that's only produced by certain places, not produced by the home. And it's it's been a battle every year for us up here.
Well, it's hard to activate the full benefit, again, in my opinion,
Definitely.
unless you're personally involved with the plant on an energetic
Right.
level. I mean, if you're commercially doing it, sure. I mean, I've worked on a commercial level, um, but it's pretty hard to touch every plant at that
Right.
level, and it becomes more of I don't know, less organic. I think is kind of even if you are using organics, you're not interchanging your energy with the plant.
No. So what is your preferred way of growing the plant?
Well, I have a personal garden that I use hempy buckets. I don't really. I try not to complicate things. I use LED lamps, and I have a basic medium of perlite, and that's it. And a hempy bucket is somewhat of a sip system. You have a
Yep.
bucket, you go up about 2 inches, drill a hole for a weep hole, and just top feed it. And I have a rotating garden, so I'm just constantly rotating in different strains and pulling out product and serving as many people as I can. I mean, that's why I do it. That's what keeps me in business, you could say. But it's what I do. It's what I've always done since I've been 17 years old.
Wow.
So
That's impressive. You know, I took some of them that bucket design and I developed it what they call a space bucket. And I plumbed them into AC Infinity active exhaust and intake system. and I built a whole thing in a closet because I didn't have a grow tent, and I grew the same style. I had a wicking system in the bottom. Yep.
Yeah, back in the 80s, I used to design and build boxes with a 400-watt sodium in them. Usually they would
Wow.
go into people's attics. And I did, I don't know how many. They always, back then it was like, well, okay, you take half the first grow? I'm like, no, you're going to pay me up front. I used to do the half the grow thing. You never see anything usually.
No.
So I would say, no, you got to pay me for the box. I'll design it. We'll custom fit it. We'll make it fit in. And this, I'll give you a price and you're good to go. And I made a very good living doing that. I've never
Wow.
been a good slave to the system. A couple times I've managed to work a maximum of 4 years, and then I snap and either quit or get fired and go back to always continuing to keep my hand in cannabis because it's the only thing that keeps me in balance, keeps me
Yep.
sane, basically.
I think we got some similarities there, because that's why I drive, is because I can't work with anybody. I'm not honestly a people person, and people can't believe that. They really can't. And I'm like, listen, I used to be, and then I lost my This is my tragic side. I lost my family to COVID. So like, you know, I kind of put in a show, and this show was created to give me a way to socialize, because I'm not a people person.
Well, it's too what we're doing, it makes the world a much smaller place. I mean,
Absolutely.
back in my childhood, people would knock on the door and be like, hey, put on another pot of coffee. Somebody's here. We got company, right? Come on in. What's going on, right? No. Now somebody knocks on your door and it's like, who is it, right? So again, we've been conditioned into this belief system of separation, and it's tragic. But the very tool that they're trying to use against us, we use against them, and that's what we're doing right now. And we're connecting.
Absolutely.
We're connecting, and blessings to you, my friend, for doing this. I mean, I used to go live a lot. My channel, Bingus503, is where you can find me. It's shadow banned. I mean, I don't really get much traction. I go live occasionally, but mostly I'm on IG. Again, Bingus503. But you invited me. I do. I appreciate it. It doesn't happen too often. And I love to talk about cannabis. Cavs Snake Oil in the chat room. Cavs is excellent dude. He's kind of been a real proponent of some of the strains that I've grown, and I'm very appreciative of that, gentleman. Good to see you, Cavs, and everybody else out there that I may or may not know. It's good to see all you guys and girls. Oh, you're muted. I love to get to say that. You there? Oh, you're still muted. Or if I lost my hearing somehow? Hello? What's this? My CO2 meter's going on. Can you hear me okay? No? Testing. I think I'm coming through, right? Are we back? Testing. I can't hear you, man. Is it my microphone? My screen's lighting up, so I must. Okay, they can hear me, but they can't hear you, OB. Oh, good, it's not me. Well, welcome to the show, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. We're here tonight with Organically Blunt. We're having difficulties, which is typical in these types of live streams. You know what I mean? And now I got the whole screen. We got Galaxy Solutions in the house. Cav Snako, Kenneth, Alyssa, David Bryden, Growing, Victor Ramirez, Tony Rafferty, Cronky Nugs, Grow and Grind, Moonwater, Favator. Good to see you all. Thanks for joining us tonight. He's resetting, I hope. I hope so too. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe as you see down there. I'm changing my name to Cronky Nugs. Okay. I kind of like that, just be honest. Shots fired. I thought I heard a bang somewhere. There he is. Welcome back, my friend.
Somehow we lost power.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, again, they like to fight the unification of cannabis any way that they can.
So I'm sorry, guys, that happened. It kind of, he got booted and then I got booted and I don't know what happened there, but hopefully you can hear me.
Yeah, I'm good. We're good.
All right. Excellent. So I want to get back into where we left off if possible. I know that was kind of an inconvenience there, and I apologize.
Nah.
But so after you discovered this plant and you're growing it for all these years, you've been to prison, you wrote a couple books or so, or a book. What is your next plan on your journey with this plant?
I'm going to try to get the book. I'm going to self-publish the book and have an idea for another book I'll probably start writing. I'm just going to keep doing what I do. I have a handful of people that I serve, and I got new strains that I'm going to start making, and it just continues, constantly improving the garden, constantly learning, meeting new people, just going wherever, maintaining in a state of balance to accept whatever novelty life has to offer. I can't emphasize enough how we are basically human. We're multidimensional beings. We just don't know it for the most part. And half of our life is in the dream world, and most do not realize that is a place that can be accessed, all right, where you can live a full life. We have duality. We have two sides of our brain. When you merge that together in balance, you are multidimensional. And so we are designed as a vehicle to be that way. Cannabis helps us do that, in my humble opinion. It has a spirit. It has an energy. It, I think, teaches us more than we teach it. And if you merge with yourself and get in balance, it's easy to merge with cannabis and let it guide you in the direction that it wants to go. Many times we fail to recognize the small nuances in the plant, what it's saying to us, what it's trying to tell us. will reach out to others and try to find advice and what have you. But really, if you sit and meditate with your plants, the plant is going to merge with you. It's going to help you understand its nature and what it needs. And the longer you do it, and the longer you take this approach, the more in tune you become with the plant, and the better the results, the medicine of the plant becomes.
Definitely. I think growing it overall for me is therapeutic. I mean, I don't know about you guys in the chat, but one time I smoked some good stuff that I grew, and I went to my tent, my grow room, and I'm just sitting there staring through the window. And I swear I was there for over an hour and a half, just staring at the plants, and didn't even realize I was sitting there that long. And I was zoned into the plants. Like, it was ridiculous.
Captured. You were captured. All right, and I don't know if you grow it. If you growers out there know what OB is talking about, because you stand there in time. Okay, let's talk about that particular instant that probably every grower has experienced. Time fades away. Okay, well, guess what? You're not in the third dimension anymore. You are at least fourth, maybe fifth dimensional, because time is no longer giving place in your life. It's no longer anything that has anything to do with you. All right. So at that moment, you're multidimensional. Have you ever been so in love, all right, that you don't eat, time melts away. It's right. That's another multidimensional emotion that we can relate to, or we fail to understand that that's part of our interdimensional nature. And again, it's hard when you're in a system designed by belief. Belief, I think, is a word. I don't know. You got to be careful with it. I mean, it's a word of separation. Many people will die for what they believe in, and it may not even be true. And it's almost like we should replace that word with deeper understanding. It's my understanding that this is the way it is, right? And that leaves the door open for opinion, for other people to give input. It's not a door that closes and separates, if you know what I mean. And again,
right.
Cannabis, it's hard to argue when you're sitting there smoking a joint with somebody.
Exactly. In my opinion, I got tribal family, so I guess I'd put it into that sense. It is almost like a peace offering in a way to socialize at the same time. I mean, so it's like a calm celebration of just life as a whole. That's the only way I can put it in words in my perspective.
Well, it's been that way since the beginning of mankind.
Definitely.
All right. In the first century, we really were more unified, okay, as a race of beings, as humanity. I mean, we had multi-gods. I mean, Mother Earth, Father, Son. I mean, we understood that we were the caretakers of the planet. And then the world of separation seeped in through the monetary supplementations of our efforts. All right. And then religion happened, and I don't know, the Bible. And I mean, now we have this whole system of social separation. But even back then, cannabis was bringing us into balance and bringing us in tune with our environment, with nature. And today it's difficult for a lot of people to understand. I think even what I'm talking about sometimes, it's not a natural occurrence as it used to be back in the beginning of humanity. So
definitely. thanks to everybody in the chat. I was reading a couple of your things you guys got going on here. I definitely want to mention Bingus's platinum seeds because Cav has been on me, and one of the guys, I want to say it was him, but don't get me wrong if I butcher anybody's name out there because I get so many messages. I try to keep up, but he showed me the slaps that he designed for him and stuff, and the artwork's amazing.
The platinum asset is a cross of platinum cake and my double white cheese male I call Spartacus. And I think it was almost a couple of years ago, I gave away a bunch of seeds on 420 as a giveaway. And Cav's got some seeds. He grew them, and he politely asked me, can I do an F2 open pollination? And I said, sure. And I was really appreciative of the fact that he asked. Well, now platinum asset is all over the world. And it's primarily because of Cavs. And so, yeah, I can't say enough for the guy. I mean, he is, when it comes to the heart of what cannabis is all about, Cavs really embraces that. And I'm very grateful for that, dude. So thanks, Cavs. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, he's a heck of a promoter. I mean, he sends me all kinds of stuff. I can't keep up with it because I'm on the road. So like I try to keep up, and I appreciate it, guys. I do, because you guys keep me in the loop, and that's what community is about. It's about you and I, just like I've always said. But you know, I appreciate people like that. I mean, they are fully absorbed, and I wish I could be like that, and that's my dream, but I have to have my day job still. But someday I hope to get there.
We all do what we're supposed to be doing, right?
Yep, exactly.
It's kind of hard to not do it. Every bit of novelty is expanding the overall. So I mean, that's another thing, novelty. I mean, even first source of all that is and ever will be cannot predict what a novelty will turn out to. And there's so much novelty, even in our everyday moments where you drop a piece of paper and you reach down to pick it up and you miss it, right? And you reach down again and the wind blows it and you miss it again and again. And it's like all of a sudden you start laughing to yourself because you're in this game with the wind and a piece of paper trying to pick it up. And it's just that unique novelty that we all go through. And that's really why we're here. Because with each experience, you're expanding energy. And with each expansion, the universe expands. And the expansion of the first source of all that is and ever will be expands. With each and every moment that we experience all the variety of novelty that's out there. So don't get me started.
Yeah. Well, you know, we do have to ask you the famous organically blunt question. I mean, there is a rule to this question, and it's quite simple. You cannot think of your answer. The first thought has to come out.
Okay.
So here we go. If you could smoke with anybody dead or alive, who would it be and why?
John F. Kennedy.
Oh, yeah.
Why? Because the guy was, first of all, the president of the United States, and he smoked weed for his pain. And I just think that would be an incredible experience.
That would be. I didn't know he smoked, honestly. You just taught me something. But I know he's a hell of a president, so
Yeah.
Definitely. That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
He actually smoked with on the roof of the White House. Who was it? Willie Nelson, I think, or somebody. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but it might have been another president. But
hey, that would be an experience.
John F. Kennedy, when he was assassinated, that's when I started to realize something was up with this world. And yeah.
Wow. So how many strains are you planning on producing next year?
Right now, I'm doing a small mixture, and they're in the tent right now, of 4 crosses
Okay.
with my male, and I'm probably have a few seeds to test, and then after I test them, I'll probably do larger runs if anything turns out, and give the seeds away. But
Wow.
yeah, I'm looking at the OGB, OGKB, the Bubba Kush, the Agent Orange,
Ooh.
and Double Stuff are going to
Okay.
all get crossed with the double white cheese male I have, and they all need to be crossed in my opinion because they're structurally not working out well in my garden. So
Okay.
I again I try to grow Christmas trees. I want to see a natural just a Christmas tree. I don't want to have a scrog that's holding things up
I'm the same way. I don't scrog. I want the plant to grow natural. The only thing I do, and I will be honest, is I do some low stress training on the branches. I do widen my footprint, but I don't use any net.
no
And
neither.
that's just how I am. Yep.
Sometimes I'll take the center out just to get it to
Yep.
do that, but sometimes I don't. I mean, again, I try to leave them alone and just watch them and listen, and
Exactly.
you know.
I know some people are like, you should top, you should do this. They're telling me, and I'm like, I know how to do all that. I'm like, but I just like to see how it produces as itself.
Yes,
And that's,
absolutely.
yep.
How
So,
do you adapt to my garden? Like this orange, I'm calling it Agent Orange. I think that's what it is. Orange
oh, I've
smell,
had that before.
small buds, and it's very viney. And it was some bag seeds I had from '96 that I did not label. And but man, the smoke is awesome, very good.
Uh,
And so I thought, man, we need to cross you with something that's going to give you some structure because you ain't got any. You got no structure. So, and that's what I'm saying. You develop these strains. A lot of people will breed and develop these strains, and they have to have a scrog. I mean, it's
Yep.
not like you can't grow them in a normal sense. You know, they'd be all over the ground and destroyed. So, but when you get bud like this, my God, it's like, all right, it's an inspiration to try to improve it, you know.
Definitely. So, if you had one piece of advice for a new breeder, what would it be?
Uh, breeder. See, I've worked as a breeder where we had 7 greenhouses,
Wow.
50 by 100 feet long, and we had gas spectrometers, and we bred 80,000 hunts and things like that. That to me is breeding because you have enough of the genome to do a proper selection. Okay.
That's impressive.
But what I do is I just do small little runs. I don't really get enough of a cross section of the genome to really call it breeding. All right. You try to find phenotypes that you like and keep them, and then do stuff with them, or take clones like I've done with these 4 that I mentioned, and improve on them. All right. So what would I suggest? Be careful and just study how to do it, and see where the plant leads you. All right. See where it leads you as a pollen chucker, a breeder, whatever you want to, but you're experimenting with your own ability to identify traits. And that's what I try to do is I like the orange peel or the Agent Orange has no structure. So I'm going to look for a male that has a nice structure. And I'm going to put them together and see if I can't get a prodigy that's a little better, something that's a hybrid. Hybrids are generally more vigorous and better than their parents. And So I would just be careful and listen to the plant, and don't be disappointed if you screw shit up, because I have made almost every mistake you could imagine, and I'm inventing new ones daily. So, it's all part of the deal. You know, I throw away more plants than I harvest.
Yep.
That's another thing, is high grading your stock. Is you don't want to keep the ones that are not making it too well, even though they are clones and the same exact thing. But no, it's in the corner, it didn't get enough water, whatever. I mean, there's all kinds of things that can contribute. And again, pay attention to the plant, because the plant's is the real teacher. That's the one. Oh, it's yellow. Okay, why is that?
Right.
And sit there and think about it. What am I doing differently that made it do this? That's the other thing. It's like, how did you change your routine? So my biggest thing for people that want to grow is just do it. Grow.
Absolutely.
Just grow, because the plant will, if you grow something and you even get a little bit of success, you're probably going to get hooked, and the next one's going to get better, and it's going to get better, and then 50 years later, you're being interviewed by OB.
Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely. It's impressive, because I learned from my grandfather how to grow. And my grandfather, he's the one that passed away from COVID. He was 80, and that was 4 years. It'll be 4 years on the 22nd of December. And I learned everything the simple way. So that's how I can relate to a lot of what you're saying, because I was raised by an older generation. I was adopted by my grandparents. So people say I have an old soul, and I guess I do to some people my age, but I'll be 40 in a week. And so I'm feeling the middle age now.
Well, OB, I think we're all old souls. I think we all.
Yep.
Right. I think we've been here many, many times. Are you connected to your soul is the biggest question I had to ask myself. And if you're navigating towards wholeness, towards unity, then there's a very good chance that you are connected to your soul. And if you're not, meditation works. I meditate at least once a day. I get high before I meditate. It helps me get into the meditation. It keeps me in balance. Cannabis does. I smoke all day long. And I take a gel cap, a heavy CBD gel cap, once a day of 1,000 milligrams. So It's in me all the time. And that's why I'll be 70 in February. And I'm doing good. I had a neck issue. I was an athlete. I played football. I broke my neck. I had a spiral fracture of the 5th cervical vertebrae, had 3 neck surgeries. They wanted to do a 4th, and I went down to South America and got stem cell treatment in my neck. And
wow.
It's 75% improved. I'm not kidding. Greatest thing I ever did was to break away from the American Medical Association that wants to cut you open at every moment that they can. And they're not benefiting a lot of people. I hate to say it.
Right.
My doctors are in Medellin, Colombia, in South America.
Wow.
Now, they treat you like you should be treated, period.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
I was, unfortunately, I went to the ER 3 times this week. So I've been dealing. That's why it's been a rough week. Yeah. I woke up on Tuesday, and I had right between your shoulder blades, that tendon was pinched, and it runs down the shoulder into your elbow.
Yep.
Well, it felt like somebody had a ratcheting strap around my arm, and it kept getting tighter. Well, they put me on Flexerol, they put me on prednisone, steroids, and muscle relaxers, and the pain did go down. I mean, I was using cannabis, but it wasn't it wasn't doing it and smoking it, because that's the only way I use cannabis. And I went, but now they're saying I have tennis elbow, and I'm having muscle spasms. So
Mhm.
it's been quite weird, because I woke up like it. I didn't do anything extraordinary.
Now, okay, I'm going to share some stuff with you. So, because I've had similar attacks. I'll be honest. Okay, and it's because of my neck. I don't know if how's your neck. Is your neck okay?
It's I'm going to the chiropractor twice a week to get it adjusted.
All right. So you got issues with your neck.
Yep.
Okay. So that's going to create the splinting down your both sides or wherever. But what can spark it, especially at night, is gas in your body.
Wow.
Okay, you get gases, it presses on those nerves, it creates. I've had that same one. God, like it's just ratcheting. It's getting worse and worse. Well, the gas is increasing, right? And what I do is I go to the kitchen, I get a glass of water, I mix some baking soda in there, and I drink it. And generally, I will belch like 3 or 4 huge belches,
Wow.
and it releases all that tension in my neck. The last thing I do, brother, please hear me,
I'm listening.
is go to the American Medical Association run hospitals or any doctor at all. They are not here to help you, my friend, at all. What do? They gave you drugs. They said, come back. Did they
Yep.
give you any kind of relief? Probably not.
No.
Okay. So in meditation, that's the other thing is when you got a bad neck, meditation releases all that stress,
Wow.
and you'll go, oh my God, that feels way better. I had, I broke my neck, so I had some severe issues.
Oh yeah.
But they hit it with the stem cells. I had my whole back done with stem cells,
Wow.
and I came home dancing, and it's really improved my life. I want to go back again and get that other 30%.
Right.
I still have trouble with my left hand. I don't have a good grip with it, and it's because of the neck injury. But it's so much more improved. Think about if I would strongly encourage everybody to think of ways to naturally not have to, to solve your problems naturally, understanding that how the system, the body works. If you maintain an alkaline level, if you keep your alkaline up, disease will not enter your body of any kind. None.
Wow.
Zero. Cancers, no disease can survive in an alkaline environment. Everything that we eat that's designed for us to eat, design our foods, is to keep us in an acidy state. And once you learn how it feels to be in an alkaline state, you're going to know what it feels like to be in an acidy state, and you can go grab a glass of baking soda and water. Do not overdo it, because then you'll get constipated.
Oh wow.
Do it enough to relieve the gas.
So roughly, I've never heard anybody do that. So like, how much baking soda do you put in a
About half
standard?
a teaspoon in a cup of water.
And you actually swallow it, or do you just swish it?
I mix it up. I take a half a teaspoon, go over to I have spring water. I don't buy the water in the store.
Sure. Me neither. Right.
All right, and I drink it down, and within usually a few seconds, I can feel my alkaline levels go up, or I fart, and
Yeah.
the gas is gone.
Wow.
You're not a real heavy individual either, so if you get internal bulges, it's going to affect your spine, especially if you have issues. It's what you're telling me is you have impingement in your where the nerves go through
Yep.
All right. The, what do they call it? Cervical openings. All right. They get calcified and they pinch on the nerve. And then if you get pressure, inflammation, or
Yep.
gas, then you're like, oh shit, man, my neck, I need to see the doctor. See, we're conditioned to make that choice. Wrong choice. I'm not a big fan of vaccines. I'm going to say that straight up.
Me neither. I never took one.
Good for you. Good for you. I'm alive. I know a lot of people that were my friends that are dead now. That are dead.
Yep.
Now. All right.
My grandpa took it, and he went to the hospital for 14 days. They released him, and he passed away on the 22nd of December. I found him face down blue. I could not resuscitate.
God.
And they called it COVID pneumonia.
See, these are the types of things that will pull me out of balance and want to kick somebody's ass.
Yeah, I know.
Okay? Because even the doctors are brainwashed into thinking they're doing the right thing, and they're killing people.
Yep.
Okay? Doctors are leaving the AMA right now in droves. In droves, they're leaving. And so the ones that are left right now, my friends, are diehard AMA devout warriors, and they will kill you. This is my opinion based on study. Do the research. I mean, vaccines many people have argued with me with this. One of my customers, one of the patients that I send cannabis to, okay, works in the vaccine industry, and he confirms everything I'm saying. That's why he no longer works there. All right, it's bad news. Bad news bears. Sorry if I offend anybody, but I think by now, if people haven't figured it out by now, then
right.
I don't know what to tell you. You know,
I know. My doctor, I went through 3 doctors this year. I finally found one that actually agreed with cannabis, and it took a long time because they weren't listening to me, because I have a few things wrong with me health wise. I mean, I'm no perfect person, but I have alopecia, which is an autoimmune disease. I have sinus cluster headache syndrome, which is every week I get severe sinus headaches. And now I have, they're calling it some form of tendonitis in my back and elbow. And,
sorry.
It is. Yeah.
A lot of what you're saying is that I think can naturally be fixed.
Definitely.
And it requires balance. If you're not meditating, I would suggest looking into that. It's super helpful for guys like us. All right.
I haven't gotten into it, but I've started to try to learning how to get into it. Like I downloaded, it might sound corny, I downloaded some podcasts that were pointers to doing it, and I haven't fully gotten to that level, honestly.
Okay, so there's a thing called Hemisync that was developed by the CIA, okay? And it's designed to bring both your hemispheres into balance. And it's basically, I don't know, ocean waves or something. It's a music that you listen to that I actually listen to. And it brings both of your hemispheres into sync. That's why they call it Hemisync. But that's what you're doing when you're meditating as well. So if you listen to like a Hemisync background music with headphones and you practice the meditation, it becomes a lot more easier to make those connections. And once you start making them, it's easier to build on that and to make it a stronger, more vibrant connection. And for me, I started remembering my dreams and realizing that I could do things in the dream world and learn things there about who I am and why I'm here. And just, it adds the other side of my life that I've been robbed of because of this system of social separation that we're all in. All right. You're only living half a life, generally speaking, because
Right.
nobody has taught you how to bring both your hemispheres into balance and experience life multidimensionally as well as in a third dimensionality. Third dimensionality gives us the opportunity to see things in the minutest detail. And when it comes to experiencing, in other words, being a wholeness navigator for first source, wholeness navigator for first source of all that is, you want to see the finest detail. And first source, of course, vibrates at such a high frequency, there's no way. It has to have a vehicle to be within. It has to have a wholeness navigator actually looking for the goodness to be found. All right. In order for it to expand the overall, the multiverse. So
I agree. You know, I was raised on a lot of spirituality, belief in out of body experiences. My grandfather was into that, and more tragic, but a little bit behind me. Even though this ain't about me, the show, but we're on that conversation. Is my grandmother passed away 9 years ago, so I lost both my grandparents tragically. My grandmother had open heart surgery. She had was supposed to have a valve replacement, and they ripped her aorta, and she bled out after 16 hours. My grandfather believed in out of body. My grandmother kissed us all goodbye, hugged us, went into surgery, and that was her last waking conscious moment. And she died in the surgery. So my grandfather believed her soul was trapped in the hospital and she didn't know it. So he went in an out of body experience and brought her back home.
right on.
Yep.
No, I did. Yeah, I had open heart surgery as well. It's been 10 years ago now. But that was really the beginning of my true awakening. It's because I died and had a near-death experience and came back realizing what I had to do, that I had, basically I'm living on borrowed time, and fought it for another couple of years, had 2 more heart attacks, had to change.
Yeah.
And so for really the last 10 years, I've been on this journey to lead me to where I am now, which is a much better place. I mean, I look back at that guy that I used to be, and I wish I could just go talk to him and, give him a few pointers to look at, But we're all on this path. I mean, that's kind of preordained. And if we can find the balance, I think everybody would be much happier, and humanity in general would be more unified. And I really think that's what we need. It's this program. I mean, if people, you look at the system that we're in, it is the biggest cartoon show I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
And so what? We're going to keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result? Seriously? I mean, I don't think so. When everybody stops playing with them, that's when the whole planet will raise up.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. It's supposed to happen, I think, but I don't know if we'll live. I don't know if I'll live long enough to see it. I hope to.
Yeah, well, and now is the time where a lot of decisions are going to make a lot of difference in the near future. I mean, there's a lot of different things going on right now. So, I mean, I don't really dive into the politics side of thing on here too much, but at least follow your heart.
Yeah.
Follow what's right for you and what is going to be right for your situation and how you want to live, because these next 4 years are going to be crucial. That's all I can say. And that boils down to my last question I have for you this evening. And that is, where can people get a hold of you? Where can they find your genetics? And where can they find your book?
Well, Bingus, Bingus, which is a slang word for weed in the Urban Dictionary, 503. So at Bingus503, you can just go to Google and type that in and you'll see everywhere where I am. I do a lot of AI artwork. I have an Instagram page. I have a YouTube page. I have a Twitter account. That's as far as my book. I hope to get it published. I do have a link. Let me just give you a link. If people want to get a preview and read the book and give me your opinion, that would be awesome. I'll try to find the link in chat for chat.
Yeah, I'll share it here if I can. Let's see.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. There we go. We got some lag in here.
What the fuck am I doing wrong? Sorry, buddy. That's my problem. That's me. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
All right. Here's the link coming right now. So yeah, this is a site that Google Sites, actually. I'll drop it in the chat room. And you can read the book. It's about 60 pages. And it's called The Sovereignty of Cannabis.
Okay.
And if you want to give me feedback, Bingus503@gmail. I'd be open to hear your comments about what you read, good or bad. I'm not judgmental. I may have written a piece of junk. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Appreciate it.
I'm waiting for it to come through. I haven't seen it on my end yet. So
yeah, it's in the chat room right now.
If I can find it here, I'll share it, make sure everybody can see it.
I'll throw it. It's twice in there now.
All right.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. And all my stuff that I'll be writing, I'm going to put up there basically for others to give me feedback before I actually do, like put it on Amazon or anything like that. I don't want to do it unless it'll actually work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got a good friend that I work with. She wrote a book, and she's been trying to get it out there too. It's kind of similar, obviously not real similar to yours, but similar on the spiritual side, but not with cannabis. And she hasn't gotten it on Amazon either. I've learned that it's very difficult to be an author from a few people I've spoke with.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just writing, and it took me a while. I've had like my boy read it. He was stoked, and I went, huh, okay. Usually he gives me a good opinion. But it's only 60 pages. You probably read it in one sitting if you want. And if you like it, tell me. If not, tell me. I appreciate it.
Definitely. Well, we appreciate you coming on the show. I shared the name here from Shawnee Mack because for some reason it's not showing on my end, the link. I'm not sure why. But, you know, everybody can find it. I'm sure they can type it in and find you. And let's see here. Let's try it one more time and see if I can't find it. Yeah.
Live chat? You got live chat open there?
Yeah. It's just... It's moved so fast, I can't keep up. I appreciate it.
I also want to give a big shout out to the chat room. Thank you guys for showing up. Guys,
yeah, you guys are impressive tonight. I want to say this is probably the second biggest audience I've ever had. So I greatly appreciate the support, you know, and without you guys, there would be no community. So, you know, with that being said, everybody, enjoy the rest of your evening. And if you can't get lit, stay organically blunt. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks.
Thanks for watching Organically Blunt. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe up front. Shout out to our partners helping us grow. Seedsman Genetics, the pros you know. Country roots, soil, and grassroots too. Grow bags, get your herbs just like new. Gorilla Grow 10 kind, LEDs shining bright. Atlas seeds, green wolf, keeping your grow just right. Just right. Fem, extreme gardening, and smoking storks so fly. Use code organically blunt.